Hello there.
There we go. Is there any feedback or anything? Okay. All right, there we go. Hey, Alex, how are you?
Hello. Hey, doing good. Apparently my headphones were disconnected, so I had to switch to these, but it'll work out. How are you doing?
Oh, okay. Pretty good. Yeah, I'm actually in Northern California right now. I
Oh,
was traveling.
interesting. What brought you there?
My mom lives down here.
Oh, I see.
Just yeah, kind of visiting her. And they have I'm inside. They have a huge fire forest fire going on. So it's actually like
Oh,
almost like
right.
nighttime right now.
Oh, damn. Yeah. I think I may
Outside
have
with
heard about that.
the sky and everything.
Hmm. Well, yeah, hopefully I can get it under control soon enough. Because they're saying it's
Yeah, I
really a
hope
big
so
one,
too.
right?
This one, yeah, this one here is not, it's about 20 miles away from where she is. So this one started yesterday. So there's a bunch of them around here and a bunch in Oregon also. So hopefully, yeah, they get it under control. There's not a lot of wind right here, which is good because that'll
Right.
kind of help them fight the fire. See if I can get, there we go. What have you been up to?
Well, not really much, like pretty much work in practice, things like that.
Yeah.
I've really been messing with you may know them, some of the old style hornpipes from Michael Tobrides' book.
Yeah.
The steps are like so easy, but I guess I haven't done them for so long. I mean, any hornpipes at all, that I keep messing up the rhythm. It's like for the first couple of movements, I'm good. And then it starts slipping away. I'm like, I should know these things.
Are you doing them from the video or from the written?
Well, these from the video. Well, I'm combining because I do have the book. So, mostly I pick them up from the video at first, but then I review from the book because it's typically quicker because I don't have to rewind all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that book is great with all how he notates the dances.
Yeah, it's an interesting idea, definitely.
Yeah. I wonder. Wait, I meant to send a reminder out to people. So do you have any insights on shoes?
Well,
that you have, or?
Well, the only ones that they're kind of interesting here are the ones, they're kind of I guess they're calling them sean-nós shoes. I can show you here. And they're like, you can actually buy them online. It's like a brand called Make 'em, I think. And obviously, the heel's low and everything, but there's actually a little bit of like, I'm not sure what the stuff is. They're called like a phenolic toe or something. So it makes it a bit
Yeah.
harder. I think the material,
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, obviously the sole is a little worn out, but hopefully you can see what I'm talking about. And it's, I
Yeah,
think,
I think it might be fiberglass. Is that the one? Sometimes they're
yeah,
putting fiberglass on them.
yeah, I'm not really sure because they're calling it phenolic, and I can tell it's kind of similar to what they use to do hard shoes, I guess. You know, the step dancing hard shoes, but it's much thinner, obviously. And actually, I've just
Mhm.
realized one of them broke off a little bit, so I'll need to figure out what to do with that. And the sound is kind of a bit more clicky. You know, it's a bit more high pitched than the normal ones, but then again, that's kind of to be expected because it's thinner. But you know,
Yeah.
it's useful for me because it's really hard to get a wooden floor over here. So, you know, whenever we're moving around, it's good to have something to make it a little bit harder because
Yeah.
otherwise you can get any
Yeah,
sound.
I've experimented with I have a pair that has metal taps and then I've had some friends make wooden taps for me and those are really really nice. I have and we've experimented with different types of wood. So like there's one girl that has ebony wood and they make like a really high sound, but they're still not as high as like metal would be.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have a pair that is rosewood, babinga, and that's my favorite sound because it's kind of deep. It's closer to like some of the music, the sound of the traditional music. I feel like, but those ones they're a little tough because you have to carve the wood and
Mm-hmm.
then glue. You have to glue them on because if you put a screw through them, they'll crack. So we've been experimenting with that, and the one that I do have I have one student has both of those pairs of shoes, so I need to to get them back. But we did a maple laminate tap
Mm-hmm.
that a guitar maker made, and it's 11 really thin layers of maple. So it's super strong, and you can put the screw through it. So you can have one pair of shoes and take that that tap on and off, and put a metal tap or a wooden tap on
Oh,
there,
nifty.
which is pretty cool. Yeah, but it definitely has a higher pitch than the solid piece of wood. And we've been experimenting like probably with a ton of different things. And I think my favorite thing right now is the neolite. Have you tried that?
Um, I don't think so. I think
Yeah,
Irina may
it's
have
like a
mentioned that, but I don't think I've tried it out myself.
yeah, it's like a really it's kind of like rubber.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it at the leather company and I buy it from them. So it's super like it just comes in a sheet and then I get a shoemaker to put it on there and it makes a nice sound, nice solid sound. But it wears down like the pair I've maybe had for about 3 years and it's kind of starting to wear off.
Yeah, I was thinking of finding
It's
like a
kind of
shoemaker I can work with here, but you know, somehow I never got around to it, and now it's been 2 years and I'm confused. So I'll need to work on that.
what to get and what to make.
Well, yeah, I
Yeah,
guess.
it's we've had worked with a bunch of different shoemakers around here, and there was one guy. The shoes made an amazing sound, and he put so neolite is you can still get it, but it's harder to get. And then there's a company that makes like the one guy that made my shoes, one pair of them. He was using the stuff that you might put on the heel of the shoe, kind of a plastic that had like bumps on it, kind of a which made a great sound, but you couldn't walk anywhere in them. Like we could dance in them fine, but if we walked anywhere, we would slip because they're
Hmm.
like super slick. Um, and they were really heavy because they had like a really heavy plastic thing on them. So now I go and buy the neolite myself and bring it to the shoemaker because that we wound up with that other version. And then I think I've had some students, they just put an extra layer of leather on to get a loud sound. I don't know.
Would it just be, is it just one layer of this neolite stuff?
Yeah, just one layer. Yeah, oh, there you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the neolite, we just glued it to my leather tap shoes I have a pair of tap shoes that have no tap. And then he just glued them on there like an extra piece of leather, but it's the neolite. So it makes me think of tires. It's like rubbery. And I think it's the nicest sound. Well, and the most versatile. Like I can use them for set dancing. I can use them for tap or, sean-nós. And they seem to come across on the stage. If you've got the stage mic'd, they're loud enough to be heard. And it just depends. Like for me, like I'm a lighter dancer. So if I'm not mic'd and the whole band is, I need the wooden tap or a louder shoe to be able to be heard. So I actually have multiple pairs of shoes. It'd be nice to just have like one. We've talked about with the wooden tap where you can take it on and off and put a metal tap on if you needed to. But I find the wood is if you've got mic'd, or even if you're not mic'd, the wood is pretty loud. Like I wouldn't wear wooden taps in a set dance to go set dancing, but I would wear them like if I'm on stage. Have you played with any shoes, Susan?
No, but I have that pair that like yours that I'd sent to Kalia, tap shoes, and then she put on the ebony tips on those. So I've got those, but those are loud, like you said. Yeah, you wouldn't wear them set dancing. But I did find a pair of leather shoes last year at a thrift store that I've been wearing for most of your classes. I just actually decided to switch to the wooden ones, but I've been wearing the leather ones, but I would like more on the front, on the ball, because the heels are making a nice sound, but the ball it just doesn't make enough of a sound.
And I found that with most shoes that you can get a nice heel, but if you don't have a little something extra, you're going to get a lighter sound or a different sound on the toe.
Yeah.
I saw my dad there. You've got like the little metal heel saver. Have you put that on your shoes?
Like this.
It's like a tiny, tiny tap.
Cleats, they're called. Cleats. I have one pair with the cleat, and I don't use them much. I don't wear those shoes. They were the soul saver of the 50s. You put a little cleat on the tip of the shoe and a bigger cleat on the heel. I'll go get them. But what I've been using mostly now is like neolite, but it's not smooth. It's got a pattern, and
that's the kind that we got. That one did the guy in Hawthorne put them on for you? Yeah.
And you thought they were slick?
Yeah, if you try and walk anywhere besides the dance floor, Eric and I both got our shoes done with that, and we were on tour and we tried to walk like on the sidewalk and we both fell.
Oh, wow. I haven't experienced that. I use that, if I'm going to a pub, I'll just wear them on the street as well. And I haven't slicked at all.
They're not slick?
No, they're not slick. Okay. I need to go out and buy a new pair of regular walking shoes because, the running shoes I use have disintegrated over the years. So I've been wearing those because they give me support when I'm walking. Good leather shoe with a good sole. And they're really loud.
Maybe ours were just a little different or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, because ours were awful. We tried to grind them down on the sidewalk and stuff, and we couldn't walk anywhere in them.
Huh. I have not tried wooden taps, but
I've got a weird little system going on, so I'm going to move over. I'm traveling, and my computer doesn't have a camera, but my phone does. So I'm going to move over so I can see if I can still see you and not get feedback. I didn't even realize with the phone, I didn't realize that there were other people on here.
Yeah.
How are you guys all doing?
Good. I'm down in Buellton, though, down near Santa Barbara. And today, because I'd heard that skies were very smoky up Ukiah way and Willits way. And today it's almost yellow here. It's weird. It's like a fog, but yeah, it's very strange.
I should take you guys, I'm going to take you guys outside for a second. I'm near Ukiah. I'm in Albion, California.
Oh, okay.
It is, the reason I'm inside is because it's yellow.
Huh.
yeah, here it is.
I don't know if you guys can see that. It's weird.
That's the old style traditional cleat,
Hmm.
which makes a nice sound. And this one does not have a tip, though, but there's a smaller one you put on the tip. And they use that to just save your soles. And that's the neolite-like thing that they.
Okay, yours that's different than what we had.
And I like them, because they're a good sturdy shoe, and they give me support for regular walking. Just a little heavy, but it would. Yeah.
Do you just have that on the toe, or is it on the heel too?
Yeah, it's on the both. It's on the heel and
On both.
yeah.
Huh.
Makes a lot of noise.
Mm. And what did you say was the disadvantage of the cleats, or was there one?
Well, you probably can't get your nice ball sound out of it.
True.
You get a tip, and a heel. But,
Right. Mm.
and then if I'm set dancing, I want the ball. I want a nice smooth ball.
Right, and I guess it would be harder to control the sound because you would only really have reinforcements on the tip of your toes. So you would really have to be a little bit higher to be sure that you're going to get the sound from it. Because otherwise, if you hit with the balls, then you wouldn't be consistent.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why I like the full neolite or the, extra layer of leather, is because you can get the same sound anywhere you're hitting. And it's smooth, it's level, versus maybe a tap where you've got like a different thing happening between sometimes I put rubber next to the tap, and then you've got the wooden tap or the metal tap. And then if you hit that rubber, you're getting a different sound.
I found this one thrift store shoe with a plastic sole. I don't know, it was probably neolite or something like that, but it was just really nice. And I just destroyed
Uh,
Yeah, I actually really like the plastic soles. I was surprised when I finally tried them because they're pretty loud. They make a loud sound. They're smooth, and they're louder than leather. Like I don't have all my shoes. I should have brought my shoes with me, but I was on the airplane. And the last time I traveled with a ton of shoes, it was the weekend that the guy tried to light his shoe on the bomb in his shoe, and why we had to take our shoes off. I was in Denver teaching a workshop, and I had step dancing shoes. I had like every Irish shoe you could imagine, and gillies and taps and wooden taps. And the guy kept fishing them, and I didn't check my bag, and he was fishing them out of the thing like, what are these for? And so I ended up dancing for him, like, this is why I have them. So I didn't bring any shoes with me down here. That was terrible time to travel with lots of shoes. I think I had like 6 pairs of shoes.
Wow.
But
not good when you're on Ryanair.
no. The other thing I was thinking, like so we were talking about kind of surfaces and getting sound. Some people have like the hobnails in there, but they like I have a lot of the studio I worked out of. I shared with flamenco dancers, and as soon as the first week they showed up in my studio, I had chunks out of the floor because they had like, so their hobnails weren't quite flush. So that's another thing to consider when you've got your shoes of where you're going to go dancing. So if you've got those hobnails, or maybe even those cleats might scratch somebody's floor a little bit. So depends on if you're willing to have multiple pairs of shoes for different occasions, or if you just want like one shoe that you can wear for everything. I think the closest for that is probably that neolite. And the wood, I feel like the wooden tap is light, but you never know. It could put a dent in somebody's floor. So I don't know. Anybody else have shoes that they have different surfaces that they're using, or what they're made out of on the bottom? Mostly leather.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember we at one point I tried using like a form of a metal. Well, I guess it was kind of a cleat or something, like a little arch or something like that, just on the very top of it. And I used a pair of old hard shoes actually for that, because my tip on that had worn off already. But then the shoemaker that I was working with, he couldn't really properly attach them. So in like a matter of second time I used them, they just fell off. Because I guess, I'm not sure if it was about the shape of it or the shoe itself, but he wasn't really able to screw them in fully. So it really didn't work out with that one.
The other thing, I don't know if for shoe wise, I really like a shoe that's round at the tip. And I know like it's been hard to find those. So they have the one that I really loved for a tap shoe was the Leo tap without a tap, but it has a super round tip, or a round toe box. And for years I danced in men's wingtip shoes, which they're not round at all, they're pointy. And I felt like I couldn't control my toe as well as I could if the shoe's round. I don't know if you guys do you have any experience with that, like a pointy or a round?
No.
I know my dad, you dance in wingtips all the time. So
Yeah, wingtips. And I had a really nice plastic soled two-tone square box toe that was really nice on a toe sound. But they weren't that comfortable.
Yeah. Alex, it looked like you were going to say something about?
No, not really. It's just a little hiccup or something.
Oh. So when I'm looking, at least for myself, I'm looking for that roundedness on a shoe. Maybe because I can spread my toes a little more. I like if it's too narrow. I don't know. And Those are hard to find. Like even the nice Capezio K360. To me, that it's not white enough for my toes. The pair that I have, I wore them last week because I just love them that have the neolite on them. But I've actually poked my toe all the way through. So I don't know if you can see in the video when you're practicing. My foot comes through my shoe. So I have to get them repaired somehow.
So I can see now how that would help. So I'm not sure if this is my imagination or not, but I've been trying to practice doing the triple shuffles, and it only works if you have to be really relaxed. So, and I think that having your toes out is what you really need to get that triple in, rather than if they're, I don't know, if there's tense at all, it doesn't, I don't think it works. I think you have to, I don't know, is that just my imagination or not?
I think I would say it's not your imagination. I think that that's true for me, at least. Like in order for me to get a crisp sound when I'm shuffling back, I crunch my toes to get that nice crisp thing. But going out, they're totally relaxed. So to get that shuffle and that triplet out of there, I have to relax my foot.
Yeah.
And my ankle a lot. When we first figured out how to do that, Ronan would loosen his shoe. He would untie his shoelaces and loosen his shoes to get it.
Huh.
So that it would be super, super relaxed. And I remember we went on, because I moved back to America and he was there. So we would go on tour sometimes, and he came maybe, 6 months later, we went on tour, and he goes, well, then I can do it without loosening my shoes now. So he had like the control exactly when he wanted to have it happen.
Huh.
So yeah, I think that, yeah. But some people like that more narrow shoe. I'm not sure. Karen Kaminsky, who's in some of the classes here, I went and visited her in Minnesota, and she took me to this guy Dancing Fair, which is the guy. He has a license to modify Capezio shoes. So if you like that Capezio, the high-end Capezio tap shoe, he can make them with any kind of wild colors or leather or different things. But he's made his own shoe, and I tried his shoe on, and I loved the way it fit. And I was talking to him, and I said, "Oh, this is like the Leo. I haven't been able to find the toe box that the Leo had, and they discontinued it. So nobody has that super wide toe box that I can find." And he said what he did was he asked a ton of tap dancers what they liked, and a lot of people like that Leo shoe. So he actually ended up making it wider, kind of like that. And his is, he calls it the GS1. I don't know why. But it was pretty cool. And he can do those in all kinds of different colors too. But I haven't bought a pair yet, because they were, I don't have a super wide foot, but with that Capezio shoe, I have to buy a wide. And same with his, when I tried the wide on, it was a custom one that somebody else was going to get. The wide one fit and the regular didn't fit me. So I have to custom order it to get the wider shoe.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also a lot of those tap shoes, they run kind of narrow. Anybody else have shoes that they love or they don't like? Or?
I guess I don't really have any that I love. I had an injury a few years back that made it difficult to wear shoes that weren't like a hiking boot, like broad and super solid and lots of support. And so that's past now. I can pretty much wear whatever shoe, but I just really like a supportive shoe. And so, I have a couple of off-the-shelf store shoes that I use for any kind of percussive dance. But I've worn them outside, so I don't want to wear them in my house where I'm dancing now. So I have a dance sneaker that I've never worn outside, so that's what I'm wearing in the house. It's super supportive, but you know, it's rubber on vinyl floor, so it's kind of sticky. And dancing on a board, it's just too loud in the house. So then I can't hear, you know, what else is going on. But I think this, you know, quest for the perfect shoe is ongoing. I think before we were, you know, sheltering, I had gotten a like a clogging Oxford, the one with the black heel, not the wooden look one. And I was using that for sets, and yeah, it's nice. Yeah, but I mean, you know, each different pair of shoe kind of sets you differently, like your posture and such. So I find that one, you know, it's got a bit more heel, so I'm a little bit more forward. So which is nice for being on the ball, but then like it's different. So I don't really, you know, have a favorite yet. I did a bunch of Cape Breton step dancing this summer, and you know, there's a real commitment to wearing your shoes. Whatever you've got on is the right shoe. You shouldn't have a special shoe. You know, like you might have something louder for performance, but like your shoe is your shoe is your shoe. It's the tradition, and you know, I kind of like that idea. But I'm here. I want to hear everybody's shoe modifications and what you do, and you know what's out there.
Yeah.
I'm kind of, you know, the shoe you wear is the shoe you dance in, you know, and I'm not afraid of dancing barefoot, you know, for practice. And the first time I went to Milltown Mall Bay, I wore my runners, as they called them, and God, I learned a lot, you know, and I was comfortable learning, and I got a few glances, mostly from Americans, you know, that I wasn't following the rules. But the Irish didn't have any problem with me dancing like that. They could see my footwork, and they didn't care that I didn't make any sound, you know. And the shoe that I prefer is $180 Adidas shoe, and we're in Adidas country in Portland, so I get them half price at $90 once in a blue moon. And they lasted, you know, they lasted 6 months when I was working as a chef, but they'll last a couple years, you know, and I enjoy dancing in those and walking in those. And I'm ready to buy another pair right now.
There, if you guys are interested at all, I can write to Kieran Jordan. She was telling me about some of her students. This was years ago, so I don't know if the guy's still doing it, but there was a guy, I think in Canada, that was taking regular sneakers and carving them out and pouring fiberglass into them so that they were level, but they had that loud fiberglass sound. The fiberglass is what they have on the Irish step dancing shoes. And I remember at the time she had a student that was dancing in Doc Martens, and they had put the fiberglass on those, and then also Tevas, pair of sandals, because it was comfortable for them. Because some people have, like, depending on how if you've got an unusual foot and you need that super wide shoe, the regular tap shoes aren't going to fit you. Sometimes, or there's people who make them custom, and there's a lady, the Just Tap lady, makes the custom shoe, and that's actually what a lot of sean-nós dancers are using now. Nick Garris dances in those, and Siobhan Butler has that pair of shoes as well. A few other people.
The fiberglass, pouring the fiberglass in, that sounds awesome. That sounds like a great DIY weekend project.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they do.
I think we did that in high school.
I used to, when I was in high school. I don't know why I never thought to go buy a pair of tap shoes, but I took my Converse and put tacks in them, which you have to dance very lightly because they go through the sole. They kind of hurt sometimes. But I don't know why I never asked you for a pair of shoes. I was like, oh, I can make this because I was trying to make my tap shoes. So I used tacks, which is kind of the old school way of taking like, the hobnails.
Or a piece of tin.
Yeah, Ryan, what's that? What's that, Dad?
A piece of tin.
Piece of tin.
Yeah.
So there's
Hi, Ryan, welcome.
Hi.
There's no, none of the set dancing shoe manufacturers in Ireland now have sean-nós shoes too? You think they'd have something by now?
They do.
Oh, they do.
Isn't that kind of what you have, Alex?
Yeah. Let's just give me a second. I think I might have a link on hand even, or at least I had it.
They've done, it's like a smaller tip, like the step dancing shoe, and it's fiberglass.
Yeah, and well, I'll find the link soon enough, but I can show you now. It's like these, they're kind of flat. Well, these are kind of male. I think they have like a ladies version as well, but it's kind of a higher heel if I remember right. And they have these, they call it phenolic, but I think it's something similar to what we've been talking about. So there's like some reinforcement in the front and then in the back as well over here. But with these as well, it does have a leather sole, so it takes a little bit of getting used to. You need to stand a little bit higher on your toes for it to work, and the piece in the heel is a bit trickier to hit off it took me a moment to get used to them, but other than that, they were kind of fine, except that this one actually cracked. I'm not sure if you can see that. That's like here on the front. Nah, I guess not. It's out of focus. But yeah, apparently it broke off. But anyway, let me just find a link and I can send it over to you guys in the chat.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I think the reason I've never really gone for either the set dancing shoe or the sean-nós shoe from some of the Irish companies is I don't like that high heel.
Yeah.
I think I wound up with a pair of them. Somebody gave me a pair of set dancing shoes, and they were just up high. I didn't like them at all. And they're hard. Like I find it hard for me, like, yeah, just like you were talking about, depending on the shoe, it changes your level. So if you've got that high heel and you're dancing with your heel, you've got to go really up to get the heel. So I like the lower, like more the size of a wingtip shoe for the heel. Right now for old style step. What's that?
Go ahead.
Oh, for old style step, I don't currently have a shoe I like dancing in, so I'm dancing in my Keds basically, because I want that super wide toe, and that's what they have.
I was going to ask if anybody dances in or has seen anything with a bit of a ankle, like a boot. Like I was recovering from a different injury, and I have a ballet boot it's split sole and just laces up for just a little extra ankle support. Because if you've ever had an ankle injury, I don't know if anybody else has, but I'm always afraid that I'm going to roll again and then be injured. So like lacing up, but I don't know about something with some percussive sound. Is that a thing?
My only experience with the ankle thing, I did the Portland Revels here in Portland, and the Christmas Revels, and we had to be all in period costumes. So I went and got a boot that was 1800 leather, and I had to go to the costumer and ask, hey, is there any way that I cannot be in costume, because I didn't have any control of my ankle. I couldn't dance in them because I needed to be able to bend my ankle more. So I could do some things, but I didn't have the mobility to move and shuffle the way I wanted to shuffle with them. So I don't know if,
Right.
yeah,
So
you could probably do it, but
you're trading off
I
the
couldn't-
flexibility for the support.
yeah, I couldn't, like, I could do some sounds, but probably my ability to dance was a quarter of what I could do in a regular pair of shoes. I just couldn't get the sounds I wanted or move the way I wanted to. And I was so glad she let me not wear them because she's pretty strict about what you can wear and what you can't wear. And I was like, I have to dance. I can't dance in these.
I have one pair of shoes that with a really nice high heel like this, but I only wear them when I'm dancing in drag because they're kind of uncomfortable, but they make great sound, you know, and they give me the, you know, that cute tall girl posture.
Oh, those would be way too high for me, those heels.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, it's tough. So I think my favorite pair of shoes is this Spanish shoe that I found just randomly. And those are the ones that I danced in forever. And they have, I was actually the guy at Dancing Fair. He said if I mailed them to him, he'd kind of figure out how to make them because I can't find the brand anywhere on there and I've never seen a shoe like it. But the toe is leather folded. So the toe is super wide and it's like three pieces of leather folded up to each other instead of like one solid piece going down. And then those have the heel bubbles out. So if you do heel clicks, it's really easy. Whereas a lot of shoes, the shoe is out and then the heel is in and it's harder to get at the heel. So those are my favorite shoes to dance in. And I've been thinking of sending them to him as long as he doesn't take them apart to figure it out. Because I want, you know, they're my favorite pair. And I've probably had them for 20 years.
And they're not a dance shoe, they're just a regular, just some shoe.
Yeah, and that's actually how I got the idea to start looking at plastics. So when you look at the leather, the sole of them, I thought they'd kind of feel like they would be leather, but they're actually more of like a neolite plastic thing. So then I ended up experimenting with some of that and getting a really good sound off like leather or plastic and neolite. And they're so nice. I was scared I love the wooden sound, but I didn't want to like ruin them by putting wooden taps on that shoe. Yeah. So Ryan, we talked a little bit earlier about making the wooden taps. Ryan has kind of an interest in learning how to make wooden taps, or have you been kind of playing a little bit?
I've been just researching and messing with my girlfriend's shoes a little bit, but I haven't gotten into the shop to attempt to make them yet. I've been noticing them, or just the teletone taps that she has, and the curvature on the bottom of the toe. Is that something other wooden tap makers, do they mimic that curvature of the toe?
The ones I've seen are all it depends. Yeah, so this one Sarah Corey made for me are a little bit rounded like that. And she carved it out of a solid piece of babinga, of rosewood.
Okay.
Then I wound up with a couple more pairs and they're a little more flush
Mhm.
with it. I know, Susan, you have one of Kalia's shoes,
Yes.
do you? And that's who taught Sarah how to make them. Are those rounded on the tip, or are they more flat?
I don't know. Let's go see.
Because we had, with the solid piece, you kind of have to use the glue. Because if you use a screw, then the wood will crack.
Mhm.
Versus the pair that I wound up with that, do you know Doolin guitars?
I've heard of them. I don't know their work.
He made a top for me that's maple laminate, and he did like 11 layers of maple laminate. And because it's so solid, he can put the screw through it.
Mm-hmm.
And that I can actually, that pair, I can take that off and put the metal tap back on.
Okay.
And I can
That
have
makes sense.
2 sounds with one shoe.
Mm-hmm.
So these,
Oh, wow.
that's how these are. I think they're block shoe.
Yeah.
Mhm.
A little
Yeah.
triangle thing here. Yeah.
Can you show the bottom of them?
Oh, wow, okay.
Right.
So that's kind of,
That's a big chunk of wood.
yeah, that's almost like a step dance chunk, but not as thick.
Yeah, it doesn't appear to be as tall, neither the heel nor the toe, but yeah, it is a little bit higher than usual, but
Yeah. Yeah.
And she uses
I kind of like
ebony
it. Hmm?
Mm-hmm.
for most of her stuff. And when Sarah's shoe had ebony also, the ebony's got a higher, I prefer the rosewood sound because it's deeper.
Mm.
And the ebony, it's harder, it probably won't crack as easy, but it does have that higher, like tickety,
It does.
not quite a metal tap on, but
Mm-hmm.
it's,
Yeah.
it's
Ebony's really, really hard.
Yeah.
So you're gonna get, it's harder than maple, and maple's even known for its like high, really kind of like clickety kind of sound to it.
Yeah. And that's what exactly those maple shoes, I don't dance in them as much.
Mm-hmm.
I like the rosewood because it just has, I feel like almost with my maple taps, I don't really hear that much of a difference between the metal and the maple.
Okay.
It's closer to that metal sound. I don't know, do they do laminate stuff like that with a different, like with a rosewood, or could you get, if you were building them that way, could you get a deeper sound?
I'd have to look. Laminates, just buying laminate sheet for more exotic hardwoods is a lot more difficult. Whereas maple, mahogany, like that's a lot easier to get. I'll have to do some poking around to see. Making a laminate myself, it could be done. It would just take a long time.
Yeah. And carving a chunk of wood might be a lot easier.
Possibly. Yeah. Yeah, and I was trying to figure out ways like, okay, for just situating the grain, in which way to cut it to make it harder. But at the same time, I'm not a dancer, so I'm not very ignorant to how much force, pressure, use, all that kind of stuff the wood's going to go through. So yeah, in thinking about it, the laminate makes a lot more sense than trying to situate grain properly.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about it like an instrument maker instead of a tap maker.
Yeah, because we had one pair. So I had my pair that Sarah made, and those lasted for like 12 years until I took them to Lark Camp and got them. They got too dry with all the
Yeah.
dust and stuff. So you kind of have to, if you've got the wooden ones, you want to put like, she would even put chapstick sometimes on hers when I saw her dancing, or just like almond oil or something to keep them moist. But
Mhm.
I went to Lark Camp, which is just a giant dust fest, and they cracked.
Okay.
And then then I had somebody look at those and make a new tap for that same shoe, kind of off of her model. And I think he did the grain of wood the other way, and
Mhm.
they cracked right away.
Oh, okay.
So like, I feel like, God, I have somebody has both of those pairs of shoes, so I need to get them back so I can see. But I think she went. I don't know. Maybe you could see on yours, Sarah, or Susan, which direction she's going with the wood. But I think if you went across, you might crack it. It might crack easier. Can't remember.
I'm not sure I could tell.
Yeah, it's really hard to tell.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh.
I don't know.
I can't tell you. We'd have to look. When I get those shoes back, I'll look
Okay.
at which way they're going, because I know, we can just email Sarah. There is a way that they should go.
Mm-hmm.
I think for more support.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's definitely one way I can think of, just even which the grain direction, the vertical versus flat. If it's vertical, they're not going to last long at all. If it's more of a flat sod where the grain matches the sole of the shoe, it'll be a little more flexible and last a bit longer. But in the end, I think even if there's just, say, there's like a main solid piece, say, and then maybe one or two pieces of laminate like on the back side of that to reinforce the chunk.
Oh.
That's how I'd kind of been thinking about it in my head.
Great.
Well, we'll figure this. This will be cool if we figure out something.
Totally. But I'd love for the shoes. I'd love for you just to be able to still to remove them and put metal taps on if you want, and not make this a forever alteration to the shoe.
Yeah. Well, it's nice, and then you could have one shoe that can do a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm.
So when I met that guy at Dancing Fair, he gave me, I have it somewhere. He was experimenting with leather taps,
Mm-hmm.
and he gave me one. It was the hardest leather he could find. He was making them for somebody to see if they would work. And you could take the metal off and put the leather on.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of cool.
Nice.
So it'd be the same thing. Then if you had that, you could go set dancing, sean-nós dancing. You could jump on a stage if you needed the metal.
Yeah.
Perfect. Your perfect, most comfortable shoe.
With
And
all the styles.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that.
That people, we invented that. That would be, people would love that if you could do that.
I'll play with that. I love challenge.
That would be pretty cool. You could even do a step dancing trick on it too.
Do what?
And a step dancing wedge that could come on and off too for the more step dancers. Now we're getting crazy.
Yeah, I think they're a little bit more sensitive about that stuff.
Yeah. Anybody else have any thoughts or things on their shoes that they've done?
me.
No. I know. Well, here's another challenge, Ryan. My favorite shoe to do like old style step in is like a Doc Martin. That really just
Okay.
wide kind of shoe. I wonder if we could do. And some people are dancing in the like sneakers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you
Hmm.
fix those, but
I have no idea. I don't know if that gets into like, are you removing sole? Or are you to make room for that to inset or?
yeah.
Hmm.
I think that pouring that fiberglass in them is a pretty good solution. But
Mhm. So is it filling up the tread when you pour that fiberglass in?
I think he either carved out some of the tread and then poured fiberglass in.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I understood that they were doing.
Okay.
You'd have to be careful how much you take out.
Yeah.
And then how to mold it correctly, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Concrete.
Now there's a thought. I like that.
Yeah.
There's all that resin, you know, they're making all these tables out of, like, you know, you take the wood with all its knots and such, and then they pour the resin into it to make these beautiful, and then polish it up. I wonder if, I don't know how strong that is, but I guess if it's good for a dining table.
Yeah.
It's
Years ago, there was a San Francisco artist that made himself some concrete boots and walked around the street, and people asked him what he was doing, and he said it was industrial penance.
Concrete. One other thing that somebody suggested once was, you know, the 3D printers now
Mhm.
is you could do like the plastic, you know, because the plastic does make a nice sound. You could do 3D printed taps and get that plastic sound.
Hmm.
You know. Concrete, I think, is too heavy.
Yeah, that's kind of the only concern with it. You know, how long could you use them before having to sit down and rest a little bit?
It'd be really hard on your knees.
Yeah.
Probably.
It'd be kind of like, you know, weight training.
Yeah.
You take the concrete shoes off, you're like a cloud.
Oh, yeah.
You can't swim in them.
Apparently not. But yeah, but that's another idea then. You know, if we're making all these customizable shoes, you could consider adding weights to it as well, to
Yeah.
some reasonable extent, of course.
If you're doing competition, train with your weights and then take them off so you can just go real fast.
Yeah. I wonder if that would ever work with dancing, because it would change the way you control your movements.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, it might make you stronger, but probably not a better dancer.
yeah, I'm thinking it might mess with your precision because it's probably a different movement with weights and without.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hopefully you guys have some ideas there. Everybody's going to show up in a week with concrete shoes.
Hey, Malden, where are you?
I'm in Albion.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Yeah, and it was gorgeous until yesterday. A big fire rolled in.
Yeah. Oh.
So we're.
Yeah, it's very apocalyptic and orange here too. That's why I was late.
Are you in Chico?
Yeah, we had a fire that did 240,000 acres yesterday. And I had to do a lot of checking on people this morning.
Yeah.
But everybody's good.
Yeah, we're kind of, yeah, same here. The Willett, the fire that's near Willett's, is what's coming this way. Everybody seems pretty safe though.
Good.
Well, it sounds like there are fires up in Oregon too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Right now it's clear in Portland, but surrounding areas are really, thick with smoke.
Huh.
I heard 5 was closed yesterday.
Yeah. The wind is fierce every once in a while up here too. The gorge, northeast wind from the gorge is just whipping.
Mm.
Is that unusual?
It's kind of rare this time of the year, but the east wind, the gorge winds are really strong.
Hmm.
All right, guys. Well, I think we'll probably maybe wrap it up. And if anybody has anything else they wanted to add about shoes.
That's it. Thank you.
So you're welcome. Yeah. We'll keep working on this shoe thing. Because if we're making taps, it would be nice to have like the shoe that you make them off of. So if it's the Capezio shoe or whatever, because if you start using all kinds of different shoes, then you can't streamline the tap.
Everyone
So
becomes
I don't know, yeah.
custom.
Want more coffee too?
Yeah.
I don't have to. I've had 2 cups. This is a good excuse to go more thrift shopping.
Yay.
True.
Yeah. And I mean, it would be great to have one shoe. I tend to swap my shoes around based on the scenario. So if I'm, at a music camp teaching or a gig or whatever, I have 3. I'll have a neolite, a wood, and a metal. And I'll test the floor and see what happens, and I'll end up using one of them. But that's expensive. And I'm really buying the same shoe. I actually have the same 3 of the same shoe with 3 different surfaces underneath it. And the shoe itself was not a cheap shoe. So.
And
Be
it's
great
more
to go
luggage
day
as well.
to day. Yes. Yeah. So it would be amazing to be able to do it. One shoe with the 3 sounds.
Yeah.
Be a hero. If you figured that out, Ryan, you'd be a hero to all the dancers out there.
I'll see what I can do.
All right.
All right.
I had a question on floors, like the roll-up floors. Like, what is there a preferred type of wood that people like, and like what size?
So the one I have is bamboo, and it's probably like 2.5 by 2.5,
Okay.
which is maybe too small for some people. I feel like for me it's enough room. I don't mind dancing in that space. The bamboo is light, which is why I chose it.
Mm-hmm.
But the oak has a much deeper sound.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if you're going for sound, that an oak floor is a lot nicer.
Mm-hmm.
And that too, I think the max that you need is 2.5, 3 foot. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I was
For
recalculating.
sean-nós.
I was, I haven't really experimented too much, but when I was thinking about, I was even thinking I would need less than 2.5. If you're saying 2.5 feet, right?
I think mine is, yeah. I don't think it's super big. I think it's around there.
Right, but
Yeah,
I haven't really tried. It sounds reasonable to me, because you don't want it too big either, because then it makes it less portable.
Yeah.
Your dance floor, Meldon, is really nice and portable, and has a really nice sound. enough room for me anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like if you're, I take it to sessions, Ryan, and it's kind of like, it's a little wider than my chair.
Mhm.
So I put it in front of my chair like my instrument, and I feel like I'm taking up a little more space, but I'm taking up less space than a piper or a harpist. I feel like I just kind of in that little space. So I feel like I'm the same size as a musician in the session.
Yeah, we've played in sessions together when you use that floor, I think.
Yeah.
And it's nice and contained.
So I'll measure it. I have no
Okay.
idea actually how big it is. So when I get home, I'll measure it for you.
Awesome.
Yeah, I never feel like I don't have enough room on there. And
Okay.
even my dad and I can both get on there together and do it. We can dance at home on it together. That's a little tough, but we can do it.
Good thing you like each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll do it again after the vaccine comes out.
And my dad brings these really tiny cheese boards around, and those are work to stay on.
Easy to carry.
Those are they're easy to carry, but they're a little too small.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like cutting boards.
Yeah, I didn't keep that bath mat that I showed you about a couple of weeks ago, which that little thing I had bought at Bed Bath and Beyond. I decided not to keep that because it was too small. Yeah.
To go back.
Yeah.
Good thing you reminded me.
Okay.
I was thinking of looking at some cutting boards. I forgot about that. I'll do that tomorrow.
Yeah, it's like cutting a rug, but cutting the dance board. Cutting the cheese, something like that.
I guess.
That's one sean-nós sound you don't want.
All right, everybody. Thank you for coming, and we'll do some more research and figure this all out.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Awesome.
And talk to you soon.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Have a great
Bye.
night.